Hello and welcome. Andrea here from Sea to Sun. Today I'm going to talk to you about overall good lifestyle habits for your eating. If you are a beginner and you are overwhelmed with where to start and you want to start making some improvements with your health, but you don't know where to start, that's what this video is for. This video is not about a fad diet and losing a bunch of weight in 2 weeks. This is about the long-term things that we can do in adding healthy things to our diets. But first off, before we even get into food, we need to talk about H20. Most people are not getting enough water, not drinking enough water, and this is the first thing that you need to do to start on your healthy journey. The other thing I think that is really important to talk about today is that there is not one diet that is perfect for every single person. We are all very, very different. We have different needs, social needs, whether it's religion, cultural backgrounds, our bodies are biologically different, our microbiomes are different, we have different natural food preferences. Different people have food intolerances. Some people have food allergies. We are all different people. What works for one person does not necessarily work for the next person. What is healthy and perfect for one person, especially if they're dealing with health conditions and vitamin and mineral deficiencies and all of these other things, what is they need to do versus what someone else and their optimal diet is going to be are very different. So I think it's really important that people understand this. There's not one umbrella diet that is good for every single person. So reducing the amount of extremely highly processed foods that you are eating and the amount of sugar and caffeine consumption through what you're drinking is very important when you are beginning. So make sure that you're aware of those two things starting out. So if I'm not trying to lose weight, why does it really matter if I'm eating or drinking clean? Often people are going to notice a number of the following things, and of course this is going to be personalized depending on what your current habits are. But often people will notice that their skin clears up. If they're fighting acne or rosacea, or their skin may be really dry, this is a big thing that people notice, is that their skin starts looking better. Their cognitive function, their brain fog starts going away. Headaches often start dissipating. Often people's microbiomes start resetting and their digestion gets in order. They often lose their heartburn if they're suffering from heartburn. Often people start sleeping better and your natural energy levels start coming up. So eating clean and healthy isn't just focused on to lose weight. It's overall for you to feel better in general and your body to work at a more optimal level. So after you start drinking enough water, which is the first thing I'd like you to start thinking about, the second thing I really want you to start thinking about are your natural hunger cues. A lot of times we're eating when we don't necessarily need to eat. It's just because it's the habit. It's breakfast time, it's lunchtime or dinner time, but we may not actually be hungry. If you can start paying attention to these natural hunger cues, it's very, very beneficial for you. In addition to that, maybe start thinking about doing a 2-week food and drink journal. Start understanding what foods you're actually eating on a regular basis and where you might be able to make some changes. After you've done your daily food journal for a few weeks, start deciding a couple of whole foods that you think you'd be willing to add to your diet. Maybe some cherry grape tomatoes, baby spinach, apples, grapes, broccoli, sweet potatoes. What are some things that you think you could add to your food list? that you could start integrating into your diet on a regular basis. And let's not underestimate the value of some whole food snacks like organic walnuts, Brazil nuts, almonds. You can do macadamia nuts, cashews, pistachios, but consider those as well for some of your snacks. Get you off of eating all of the highly processed foods. I wanted to give you a starting point with some whole foods. Of course, this does not include all of the whole foods, but this is just something for people to begin with and add to their grocery list. And while you're going through these foods, think of things that you think that you would seriously consider adding 3 times a week to your diet on a regular basis to get you started in moving forward. Let's start on some of the protein. So you have like your organic grass-fed meat, organic pasture chicken, organic pasteurized eggs, wild game, shellfish, wild caught fish. Please stay away from farm-raised fish. Quinoa, nuts, beans, sweet potatoes, wild blueberries. If you can get wild blueberries, that's optimal. Spinach and kale, broccoli, radishes, seaweed is excellent for us. Extra virgin olive oil, organic virgin coconut oil for your cooking. Start getting away from the margarines and the cooking sprays. Flax seeds and chia seeds. Get some omegas. I often add these to my protein shakes and my salads and my oatmeal. Avocados, garlic, onion, basil, cilantro, other berries, blackberries, strawberries, raspberries, and different forms of rice. I personally love eating half an avocado every day. I always eat organic and nuts and seeds every day. Not a lot, just a few. I'm always trying to add more like natural basil and cilantro to my cooking. So this gives you a little overall suggestion list for someone that has no idea where to start.
Now, when you're shopping, start paying attention to the ingredient labels on your foods. And optimally, if you can get 5 ingredients or less and make sure that you can actually read those ingredients, understand what they are, and pronounce them, that's a good beginning. Processed foods are still going to be a part of our diet. That's just a reality. But if we can start getting better processed foods and minimally processed foods, that's your beginning.
Another quick tip is regarding the different nut butters, whether it's peanut butter, almond butters, cashew butters. Couple things to keep in mind. Buy organic. 2, look at your ingredient labels. Make sure they're not adding a bunch of sugar and sodium. Oftentimes that's common. Like for example, this only has a total of 1 gram of sugar. And also check the actual ingredients. This only has dry roasted organic peanuts and sea salt. That's it. Make sure that there isn't too many ingredients in your peanut butters, almond butters, nut butters. It's easy to get a lot of additional chemicals in these. And then when you're not getting organic nuts, you're getting pesticides. So be aware of that. Pesticides are really bad for us and cause a lot of disruption in our bodies on many levels. So make sure that you're buying stuff. Certain things like this are really important to buy organic, and look at your ingredient labels for them. They range tremendously, and when I was at the store the other day, I was curious and went and looked at some that I never buy, and it was alarming to see the amounts of sugar, the amounts of added oils, the amounts of sodium, ingredients I couldn't pronounce, and I'm like, this is just almond butter and peanut butter, and some of them are a little bit scary. So just be aware of that as well.
In addition, I want you to think about the quality of foods that you're eating and the portions. There's a big difference between eating pizza and a dinner with broccoli, organic chicken, and sweet potatoes. So instead of necessarily calorie counting, start being considerate of the actual quality of foods that you're eating. And with food portions, if you're trying to lose weight especially, then eat mindfully and slowly and only eat to 80% full. In contrast, if you're trying to gain weight, eat to 120% full and try and eat a little quicker. These are great tips for people that are either trying to gain weight or lose weight. It helps them in listening again to their natural hunger cues. So now let's get into the better than eating. Again, not perfect eating, but better than eating examples. So my number one thing that I did that was a huge change for me was that I was eating a very healthy diet, except for I still really liked cookie dough occasionally in the evenings. So I chose to go find a cookie dough protein bar that tasted decent for me. Some of them taste horrible and some of them tasted okay. So I tried a few different ones and I started replacing and substituting my actual cookie dough with a cookie dough protein bar. Now, are cookie dough protein bars still highly processed? Absolutely. They are not perfect. They are not a whole food, but I was getting very little sugar, I was getting high protein, I was getting vitamins, and I was getting fiber within this protein bar versus just the cookie dough. It was better than cookie dough, and it filled me up as well. The next thing is that I traded out my ranch Doritos for organic tortilla chips and salsa, and at least I was switching over from super high processed Doritos, ranch Doritos with lots and lots of chemicals, to a tortilla chip that had 3 ingredients and a salsa that was an organic healthy salsa. The next things that I started doing were I stopped buying white bread and I switched over to Dave's Killer Organic Bread. I stopped buying crackers like my favorite, chicken and a biscuit, especially when I was a child, and switched over to things like Triscuits. Then, if I was going to drink something of seltzery, bubbly, I stopped drinking actual pop and sodas, and I started drinking a flavored LaCroix, which has no sugar, or a Pellegrino, which is also a sparkling water. Sometimes I also just add lemon or strawberry or cucumber to my regular flat water as well. I stopped buying deli lunch meats and in lieu of would use a canned albacore tuna or rotisserie chicken. Again, it's canned tuna, it's not perfect, but it's better than eating deli lunch meat. Another quick and easy substitution is that I stopped doing margarine, cooking sprays, and canola oil, and I started buying grass-fed butter, organic butter, coconut oil, and extra virgin olive oil. I stopped buying sugary cereals and substituted with rolled oats, and would add sometimes craisins or raisins, an organic cinnamon, a little bit of honey, and some nuts. And of course, I was no longer in college, so I got rid of the top ramen, even though I still enjoyed it once in a while, and would buy a low sodium canned soup with maybe vegetables and rice or pasta. But at least I was getting more nutrition and lower sodium. 2 tips I want to give people regarding sugar cravings, which personally for me happen late at night. And I always notice that if I haven't had enough protein in my diet throughout the day, I'm going to crave a lot of carbs and a lot of sugar late at night. So make sure you're getting adequate protein throughout your day to reduce your cravings in the evenings. Secondly, something else that helps is adding a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar to 8 ounces, 4 ounces of water and drinking that. And this will often cut my cravings down. So these are 2 tricks that I've learned over the years, making sure I have enough protein and making sure I'm drinking some apple cider vinegar alone or diluted to help with my evening cravings. I'm going to also give you another tip that is great for everybody. And maybe this is a little bit more advanced for some people, but it works and it's great to keep in mind, so I didn't want to leave it out. Make sure, if you can, to eat and start eating your meals with vegetables first, and then eat your carbs after. It will even out the glucose in your blood and make it more even. You will avoid high spiking, even though you're still eating carbs possibly in that meal. Always start with veggies first. And lastly, I'd like to say, for anyone who wants to start adding more salads to their diet, and you just feel like it's too much work to make a salad from scratch, it's too many vegetables, it's too many things to do, just start out by going and buying a pre-baked salad that looks enticing to you. There are a lot of different varieties with different flavors. Pick one up, add it to your lunch, add it to your dinner, and begin there. It's better than nothing, and it gets you used to at least eating salads in your diet. So for anyone out there who is brave and wants to share about part of their personal health journey, I would love for you to leave a comment, whether it's something that you've just learned from this video or whether it's something you've learned on your own that has been helpful in you, the success of your own progress. Please feel free to share. I'd love for the community to keep learning from each other. So these are all examples of ways that you can start shifting your eating habits. Pick a few of the suggestions that seem to work for you. And remember, we're not on a everything perfect diet. We're on a continuum of better than yesterday. Little by little, incremental changes to start bettering yourself and feeling better. And the more whole foods that you start eating, I guarantee the better you will feel. And again, make sure you're drinking your water. We in America drink so much sugar and coffee and juice. Start drinking enough water. Your body will thank you. Like, subscribe, share, and coming up will be one of my fitness videos.